part of your life are you tolerating that you know you should be rebuilding?
You know that, and the audience knows that last year, almost the last quarter of the year, I had to step away for 3 months. I was unable to leave my house and I was in a bad situation. And, sometimes we can do good things, but there are bad consequences or negative consequences. And ultimately, my doctor said, you need to step away from everything. And so he put me out of work for 3 months. And so when you talk about what part of your life are you tolerating that you should be rebuilding? Well, when I was out of work for 3 months, I had to rebuild. And everybody that really knows me, I like to quote this. Steve Austin was an astronaut. And then they said that they could rebuild him. So I live with that mentality that you can be rebuilt. And so in order to rebuild me, God was very strategic. He put a person in my life that was able to keep me anchored to my faith. And he kept reminding me that God was in control and that I had to start living on God's algorithm. And over time, it began to shift me and I began to rebuild. Now, also, I got a good therapist. And so then, even though we were not live, I was still having real talk with Anjaya. We were having these really in-depth conversations like we've always had. I said to her, I've been in a domestic violence situation, not where someone was physically abusing me, but when I began to look at all the things that I was going to have to rebuild and overcome, at that point in time, I was able to categorize them as domestic violence. And I began to name the different sections of my life that had to be rebuilt because I didn't realize I had been tolerating them. And you can only tolerate something so long. And then I realized I'd lost my voice. So when you talk about what part of your life are you tolerating that you should be rebuilding, I'd lost my voice. So every time I do a Taz moment, it's all about finding your voice. So if folks haven't really saw that there's a theme there, there's a theme. It's about finding your voice because I realized that I had lost my voice and your voice is tied to your identity. And in order to reclaim my identity, I had to find my voice. And so this is what I call that stronger transformation framework that I'm constantly doing every day intentionally. So when you start talking about what part of your life are you tolerating that you know you should be rebuilding, I was tolerating things that really didn't matter. Didn't matter. And so from faith matters to reclaiming my voice, to real talk, to moving forward and learning to bounce back, that is the framework that I put together that helped me to understand that I don't have to tolerate this stuff anymore. I can rebuild it, meaning I can reinvent my life, rebuild who I am so that I am the version that makes Taz happy. I'm the version that makes Teresa happy.